From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Cummins.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. Coming up on today's show, FSU closes portal season on a strong note? Question mark. We discuss how much will the fortunes of 2026 ride on the shoulders of the defensive line, and Corey rages against the machine. Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. CumminsLifestyle. Give it a follow on Instagram. And come join us over at warchant.com. The transfer portal special still running, everybody, even though the portal has kind of closed. Can't enter your name in there. But if your name's already in there and you haven't picked a new home, well, you can find a new home. Make warchant.com your homepage, your go-to. Listen, you spend all this money on subscriptions, everybody. And how much Netflix are you really watching every single day? With warchant.com, it's there every single day for you. You're going to be dialed in, plugged in, checking every update possible when there's a visitor on campus. You're going to be reading Corey's columns, Ira's columns. We got Henshaw's house, George Henshaw, longtime NFL assistant coach, giving us insight into how teams and programs are built. Jeff Cameron, Tom Lang, Matt Lasser, Gene Williams, and then this little show as well. Take advantage, 50% off. Do it now. What's up, Corey Clark? How are you, my friend?
What's up, Aslan? How are you doing? You have a good weekend?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, man. I didn't get to watch a lot of football, but man, you were active on the Twitter machine on Sunday, man. Lots of takes of what was going on. Especially, man, did you have some action on that Texans-Patriots game? You had lots of opinions on that one, I felt like.
I didn't. The action I had, I won, so I'm fine with it. Some of the stuff the Texans did just made no sense. But what are you going to do? That's just me screaming into a pillow. Nobody cares. Nobody listens. By the way, quick shout out. I'm not one to brag about myself, Aslan. You know that. I try to be humble. I mean, I'm an incredible person, but I try to be humble about it. But did you happen to watch, even though you posted it, did you happen to watch my post-game presser with Loucks?
Let's go ahead and listen to it right now. I already have it queued up.
Do you really?
We were going to go out on this, but we can start off the day with it. Let's go, everybody.
I was joking. All right, sorry.
Real quick, just to set the stage, Corey, so what was it? They had an 8-point lead with 3 minutes left, and they lost by 1?
Yeah, it was a bummer. They blew it at the end. They let Wake score 8 straight possessions. They had a 9-point lead with, I think, 4.5 to go. Didn't hit a shot the rest of the way. Only scored 4 points, and Wake scored on 8 straight possessions and won by 1. And Robert McCray had 11 turnovers, which could be a single game high for a Florida State player. We could not find that anywhere in the record books or in the media guide. But one of my takeaways was that
hold on,
they're not good this year.
Let me just go ahead and play it.
Sorry. So that was the takeaway. Sorry, go ahead. That was the context.
Here we go, everybody.
Luke, is the lesson here with this one, if there is one, and I'm sure there will be, you didn't shoot well at all from 3, especially in the second half. I think you were 1 out of 15. Your best player had 11 turnovers. Yeah. But because of the energy and the hustle you guys played with for, I felt, really the whole game, but let's just say the first 37 minutes, you had a 9-point lead on a pretty good ACC team. Is that the message? Even if you don't shoot well, even if you're one of your best players having a bad game, if you guys just hustle into more points and rebounds, you can hang with these teams and beat these teams.
Corey, you could be a head coach.
Sure, man. Sure.
That was almost word for word verbatim my message to the team after the game. I addressed Rob in front of the team, and
cut it off. Nobody wants to hear any more, Aslan.
All right, yeah.
That was all. That was the only part of the answer.
Is this your last podcast with us? Will you be indeed entering the coaching profession after this, Corey?
No. I have no idea what I'm saying half the time. I know this is a football show right now as the portal just wound up, and we have a lot of football to get to. But that game in particular, how bad they were the Saturday before. No effort, no hustle. They had 0 offensive rebounds and a half against NC State and lost by 44 points. Well, they played better against Syracuse but lost, and they got a lot of hustle rebounds. And in that game, they out-rebounded Wake by 17 for the game. And that was kind of my point is, well, by God, you're not that talented a team. You can at least play hard. And if you play hard, you give yourself a chance. That might be the same kind of motto credo that we're looking for in the fall. If you have a defense that just plays its ass off and plays really hard and just flies to the ball, you're going to luck yourself into a couple of more wins, even if you don't have the most talent. And so maybe the football team can take a lesson from the winless ACC basketball team. It's not great times around the Florida State athletic departments, but baseball and softball are about to start up, so we got that to look forward to.
That is right. All right, let's talk about football. Sorry about that, everybody, but not too sorry.
What? Don't apologize.
I might just be like, what is this, man? I don't care about the NFL. I don't care about basketball. What's going on with the Noles on the football field? I get it. I wish we had a better way of like sorting all this stuff. But anyhow, since we last talked, Core, they've signed a lot of people. While I get my thoughts, I guess, coordinated, we didn't get to talk about the Desir news because as soon as I published the show for Friday morning, around like Thursday at 9 p.m., I got done putting everything in order and ready to roll. Like, the news dropped, Battle's End, helped get this thing across the finish line. The Desirs, they will be returning to Florida State this upcoming season. I think there's so much pressure on them now, man. I think I'm sure I hope someone's told them like what really is on the line for them and not just their coaches, like somebody in their camp. Like you really need to go out there and earn your way now because, man, if you come out the gate slow, it's going to just be a bad kind of snowball to an avalanche. But listen, true freshmen played great, the both of them. No reason to think they can't build off that and get better. Just how big of a deal was it for Florida State to get the Desirs locked in for 2026?
Yeah, it was enormous. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I've been their biggest champion for the last 2.5 weeks while this saga has been going on. Because at some point I just got fed up with it, like most of y'all did, and like, yeah, man, just decide. This is ridiculous. It's not Boulware and Renard Wilson or Wadsworth. It's not Dockett and Bunkley. It's two kids that had good years as freshmen, but have no idea what they're going to be. That said, it was almost a you had to have it. They were the best that you could have gotten out of the portal at that time. I think. Again, we talked about it. Mandrell at the time was the number 2 rated defensive end in the entire portal. I think Darryl was like the number 6 edge. I don't know how they differentiate. Maybe they had Mandrell as a tackle and Darryl as the edge. But in the portal, which they were technically, you got the number 2 defensive tackle, the number 6 defensive end that were available. Well, if one of those guys had been from Washington and the other one had been from Illinois, you'd be like, wow, they kind of loaded up. They got 2 big names. It just so happens they're 2 guys that are already here. They were big additions, and they were must-haves because of what's behind them, which isn't much. But you do now have, I think, those 2 guys I think are definitely starters and maybe stars. I think Mandrell has proven to be an all-ACC caliber player. You need those. We'll see what Kevin Wynn and Darryl end up being. Darryl showed he could play. Kevin hasn't shown anything, but they certainly seem to like his potential. So, okay, you're better there than you were this time. The last time we talked, like you have 3 guys that you think can play up front for sure to go along with. Daniel Lyons is still here, right?
Yeah.
And McCray,
correct.
So there you go. You got 5 guys in a 5-man rotation in a 3-man defensive line that you feel at least decent about. And then also, man, we can't overlook the Chris Jones one. Getting him into the mix, that's a big time get too. So. At the finish line, I think Florida State did as well as you could hope from where they were this time a week ago or this time 5 days ago. Like they finished strong. They got the Desirs back. They got Kevin Wynn back. They got Barker and Rawls back. Of course, they all had to go in the portal because why wouldn't they? You can't just stay around. You have to be in the portal. You have to dip your toe in. But they did. But they got, other than I would say Earl Little, I feel like they got everybody back that they wanted back from that defense. My issue with, and again, I don't want to be negative because I think it was a good finish, all in all. And we got to talk about the quarterbacks too. But they didn't go and get guys up front from elsewhere. You know what I mean? Guys that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
The A&M kid I'm not excited about. The Texas State guy is literally just a depth piece. And I feel like they've had enough of those. I was hoping they'd go get a bona fide All-American, All-Conference, NFL-type player.
Rasheem Biles
on the defensive line.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, somebody like that. Well, Chris Jones might be that now. Like, again, a true sophomore doing what he did. I know at a lower level, he's going to produce. But I'm talking about up front, like a wrecker up front. But maybe their thought is that's what the Desirs are. That's their hope for sure. is the Desirs end up being the wreckers that I was hoping they'd go spend some of that money on to go get somebody maybe that from another school and not just guys that were here that dipped into the portal. But all in all, you needed them. You needed them. I don't know what they would have done without them, but you got the Desirs back, you got Kevin Wynn back, and you got a couple of linebackers that I think can play, and a bunch of secondary guys. It's just that front seven. I don't worry maybe about the starters. It's that depth, man. It's a long season if you have a decent one, and guys get banged up, and I don't know what you have after those first 3 or 4.
Jordan Sanders, by the way, the player, Corey, you referenced from Texas State here most recently. I think he was at Cal Poly for a few years before that. Had his best graded season out at 78 for Texas State. The Bobcats, I think they are big body, man. He was listed at 6'4", 285 on PFF. He's listed at 315 on the On3 network profile for him. So maybe kind of a good anchor point in that 335 for Tony White and company. Let's
need
talk
some run stoppers or some gap pluggers. Yeah,
they could use some of that. All right, so let's talk then again about the offense. Before we get to the quarterbacks, they added Jamari Sands, who's originally from South Florida and was at FAU the last few seasons. I think he averaged like 4.5 yards per carry, ran for like 400 something yards for FAU last year, but he caught a lot of balls. I think he might have even caught like 40 passes. I need to pull that up right now and make sure I'm not completely being crazy. Yeah, man, he had 40 catches for 217. That's a lot for a running back, 40 catches. So much of this, and sorry to like detour this, I really feel like like John Garrett showed up, and I don't want to give John Garrett too much credit, but I feel like John Garrett or whoever showed up here, Taylor Edwards, and they're like, all right, I want to see, like, told Mike, like, all right, listen, what I need you to do for me, and goes to the coordinators, like, show me the 10 defining plays of your season. Like, show me the plays that you think would have swung every game that you guys lost. And then, like, I want a cut up of all those. I feel like they pretty much like, all right, we're going to address each single one of these moments. Like, we're going to address a running back that can't catch the ball well, that let you down against Virginia. We're going to address having a more, durable quarterback like Ashton Daniels, so that you're not, Tommy and ducking and kind of protecting yourself in week 7 of a game too much. That's what I see when they sign a guy like Sands. Pivoting, though, I guess the quarterbacks now. They did add 2 quarterbacks, one from Lafayette, which is where John Garrett was last the head coach, 7 years ago or so, Dean DeNoble. And then they also signed Malachi Marshall, the JUCO player of the year, offensive player of the year. So they got 2 quarterbacks into that room. Have you looked at any of the film? I looked at the film of the kid Trey Guerra that we spoke about last week. He was the JUCO top-rated quarterback. Marshall was the player of the year. You guys can figure it out at home. I thought, Guerra maybe just a little bit more refined as a passer. Seemed like some of the things in his film were at least going through second, third progressions. A lot of Marshall is just, read option, pulling it, hitting that slant, rolling, 3-step drop, flip your hips, throw it 40 yards downfield and let your guy go make a catch. But, he says that they run the same offense that Gus runs. He feels good about it. Some of the verbiage will be different, but I don't know, just another piece to maybe a puzzle of improvement for Florida State on offense this season.
Yeah, it's interesting because I thought they should go get one quarterback that was going to be a difference maker. Obviously, spend some money if you have to. Apparently, Mensa is available. Didn't realize that, but Mensa's available. Can't wait to see how that ends up with him in Miami.
Is that happening?
The last second there. Cool of that kid though to wait. I mean, I think he's in the portal. He entered the portal 6 hours before it shut down. Gave Duke no warning. No chance to go get somebody else. He had already just signed a new contract two weeks before that. So this is going. I think that's going to go to court. It's certainly going to involve lawyers because he signed a contract that said he could not accept NIL for any other university, and Duke is not going to let him out of that. Just like Washington wasn't going to let that kid out of it. So these kids keep signing these contracts, and then they get a better offer and think they can just bounce as if the contract with their signature on it doesn't matter. And so I hope he gets a slap in the face with reality, not a literal slap in the face. He's also a big kid. Who's going to do that? But yeah, I hope number one, I hope Miami's stuck without a good quarterback. But also I think it just sucks that you can do that 6 hours before the portal opens after you signed a contract. But anyway, so when it became clear they weren't going that route with the quarterback, they weren't going to get a big name. They weren't even pursuing any big names, and I don't count DJ Lagway as a big name. I guess he is a big name, but an NFL talent. Yeah. I don't think he's an NFL talent. He hasn't proven to be. Maybe he's awesome at Baylor, but he's basically sucked for 2 years. He's not a good college quarterback. I thought they were going to go try to get one of the better college quarterbacks in the country and one that would fit Gus Malzahn, because they just went last year. The last 2 years, they've gotten average quarterbacks, and what have they gotten out of that, Aslan? Average-ass quarterback play. So I thought they'd go a different route. Then they go and get Ashton Daniels, who's more average than Tommy and DJ were. But now they've added 2 more guys. And it's almost like they're just throwing numbers at a problem. And I'm here to tell you I'm not in love with it, but I don't dislike it either. And mainly because I do believe that Sperry might be a really good player. He's got a chance anyway. We know Ashton Daniels isn't great. He might be good enough to run Gus's offense. Sperry might be good enough to win the job now, today, this year. And also the JUCO kid coming in. I think he doesn't get here till the summer. So obviously that puts him behind the 8 ball a little bit. But it gives you real options. And it also, you know what it does, Aslan? It frees up whoever the starter is to go use his body and run. And if he gets banged up, okay, we got somebody behind you. Because Gus Malzahn's offense, you just need a quarterback that'll go run for first downs. And if they're not going to run, they don't need to be there. Well, Tommy had to take care of his body last year because the alternative they had, was a true freshman that had never played. Well, now you've got a true sophomore, a guy from Auburn that's played 3 years of college football and started for 3 different years, and then 2 other guys. One a JUCO kid, and the kid at Lafayette that's like 23 years old that's thrown for 7,000 yards. I don't think he's anything special. He's run for like 11 yards in his career. I don't know how he fits this offense. But all of a sudden now your quarterback room at least has a lot of options, and it will be a legitimate battle. Maybe a 3-way battle, maybe a 2-way battle, maybe a 4-way battle. Who knows? I'm sure Norvell will tell us it's a 5-man battle. But somebody's going to have to go win the job. It's not going to be handed to them on a platter like the last 2 years. And I think that's good for everything. Good for everyone involved.
I mean, I can't disagree with the sentiment there, but it's the whole thing. If you don't have one quarter, if you don't have,
if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. If you have 4 quarterbacks, you have less than none, right? I get it. Yeah. But what I guess right now, my hope, I think, is that Sperry is the truth.
Yes, that's the only way. He's not. I think the only way that the 26th season goes beyond most people's reasonable expectations is if Kevin Sperry ends up being like a diamond in the rough and is like a above average college quarterback. Otherwise, I think they're.
But that could happen, right? That does happen at other schools.
I mean, listen, again,
they do get kids that end up being good quarterbacks that had never played before. You see it all over the country. It is allowed to happen at Florida State. It could. It also could be the JUCO kid. I mean, he's an athlete. I don't know that he's as good an athlete as Sperry, but he's an athlete, but he's never played this level of football. And you also wonder, no offense to the young man, why are you at a JUCO? Yeah. There haven't been a lot of great quarterbacks in the history of the sport that have come through the JUCO ranks. Aaron Rodgers,
Chico,
being a really, really famous exception. But yeah, you wonder why he was at a JUCO, and then you wonder if Kevin Sperry can do it. And you don't wonder what Ashton Daniels is. We know what he is. But I think that isn't he like he's a solid. I don't want to call him a plan B, but that's a good that's a good a safety net.
Which one?
If Sperry, Ashton Daniels.
Okay.
Like it's better. Like if Kevin Sperry doesn't work out, if in the spring he gets outplayed, he's clearly overmatched, he's not ready for it. It's good to have a guy like Ashton Daniels there. That again, not great, but you know where you're going to get from him. Not an incredible passer, but a tough kid, an athlete. He's going to run for a lot of yards. That's a good fallback option. To me, I know that's not probably how they sold it to Ashton Daniels. To me, that's what I'm hoping for. Is Ashton Daniels is the fallback option. Kevin Sperry is the one they want to win the job. And if he wins the job, you don't have to give him it won't be like the last year where Tommy couldn't not play no matter what. Unless he was knocked out of the game with a concussion, he could not play. He was going to play every meaningful snap. If one of these guys struggles, you got real options behind them. They have probably four legitimate scholarship quarterbacks. None great, maybe, but at least you got four options. But, yeah, I get your overall sentiment.
Marshall started off his career at Stony Brook before going to junior college for Iowa Western. Not a prolific runner, though, but, you know, spun the ball fairly well. 33 touchdowns in 13 games, 2,700 yards through the air. So,
I mean, the highlights I saw, he looked like a good athlete in the sense that he could scramble. But he was never looking to scramble to run. He was scrambling to throw the ball downfield, and he'll throw it into coverage. He trusts his arm. He makes some decisions. But it's also hard to know. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to kill this level of football. But JUCO is not like it can maybe not be the most serious level of football. There's certainly no pressure really at those games other than like self-motivated pressure. So it's one thing to be able to scramble around, make a few guys miss, and then throw it up like Caleb Williams did on Sunday night when there's 11 people in the stands watching an Iowa Western game. It's another thing when you're playing Alabama and Tuscaloosa. But the good news is, what year is he? He's not out of eligibility, right?
He shows as a sophomore on his Iowa Western profile. I didn't see anything.
So he's
in the
probably
story,
got 2 years, right? At least 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're not bringing in a guy. I don't think the plan is to just bring in one guy this year and then have to do it all again. You're maybe not on the Miami plan. You might be if Sperry and this kid fall on his face. Yeah. But if they don't, you have a guy. Yeah. Either the JUCO guy, it's the Sperry guy. You have a Sperry guy. If it's a JUCO kid or Sperry, you have somebody that can be your starter for multiple years. And if it's Daniels, then the JUCO kid, what's his name again? Marshall.
Yeah, tough thing though about him though, Corey, is that he's not enrolling until June, so you're not even going to have a spring with him.
Yeah, he's behind. That's why I said he's behind the 8 ball. Yeah. Luckily, he's not running Bill Walsh's offense.
Fair.
Or Sean McVay's offense. I mean, he could probably pick it up pretty easily, but it's not that complex a passing offense. But the point being, either you get one of those two guys for multiple years as your starter, which is good if they prove they're good enough to run it, or if they can't beat out Ashton Daniels, then they're not very good. And going into 2027, maybe with a new coach and a new coordinator, maybe not, that you're going to have to go get a better quarterback than one of those two guys. But I do like, again, I'm going to keep stressing this, the fact that it's going to be a real QB competition. You didn't just bring in somebody to take over. I think Kevin Sperry thinks he's the starting quarterback right now. I think Ashton Daniels thinks he's the starting quarterback right now. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I agree with that.
I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
What I also can agree with is that Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, the place to be every day of the week, but especially when it's a national title game and we're all rooting like hell for one team to go down in flames. Head over there quickly. Probably it's going to be tough to get a good spot, I would think, Corey. I imagine it's going to be pretty thick, packed in the CP, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Lunch special from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. Getting you ready again for Indiana taking on Miami. Or maybe you just want to grab a bite. Maybe you just don't want to cook on a Monday. I don't like cooking on a Monday, Corey. The food at Corner Pocket, delicious. The drinks, ice cold, affordable. Billiards, darts, pool, which is billiards, Aslan. And then they have trivia on Tuesday, bingo on Thursdays, live music on the weekends. Tom and the Cats. Yeah,
they do have. Hey, I meant to tell you, they do have live music this week. It's the who is it? It's the Crooked Kilts. Ooh, it's a Scottish band. And nice. They have bagpipes. They play rock music, but they also play bagpipes. I think it's in preparation for what are those things called? The Scottish Highlands Games?
Oh, the Highland Games.
Coming,
in
early February. So it's a little kickoff of that. So, So anyway, that live music Friday. But, Monday, it's going to be pretty crowded. Going to be a lot of Miami fans in there, unless you guys get there first and they don't have anywhere to sit. So either way, yes, it's going to be very loud when Miami does something. It's also going to be very loud when Indiana does something, and it'll be a fun atmosphere. And a little, can I give people a little hint, the Corey Clark hint, a tip?
Please.
If you have the money and the means and you don't have a problem gambling, throw a little money on the Hurricanes.
Oh,
It'll
I can't
make
believe
you feel a
just
little
said
better
that.
if they somehow win the game as these huge underdogs somehow.
I can't
If
believe
they
you said
somehow
that.
win the game with only their 11 NFL players that are in the starting 22, you'll at least win a little something. You'll feel a little better about it. That's all I'm saying. It's just a little hint to try to get over the emotions of maybe your arch rival winning a national championship while you had a losing season again.
I can't endorse that. I can endorse a Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, though. 2475 Appalachia
Amen.
Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by CumminsLifestyle. Follow them on Instagram, everybody. Mailbag show, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. If we do a mailbag, we'd have to record pretty early today so that I could watch the national title game. But it doesn't matter. Just be on the lookout for the thread, everybody. Every single week, generating discussion, sparked by Cummins. Post your questions on the Tribal Council. Best one gets featured in a weekly video, gets entered into a drawing for a monthly gift bag giveaway, and then the ultimate grand prize giveaway before the season starts. Ultimate tailgate, home game of your choice. 20 folks at the tailgate you can have, including yourself, so maybe 19. We're going to get you a hotel room, set you up for the night at Hotel Indigo, the best spot to be if you're at a Florida State game in Tallahassee. And then you're going to have food, beverages, stuff that gives you a buzz too. There's going to be a bartender there, tables, chairs. They're going to set everything up. You're going to show up and tell all your buddies, come on out, have a good time. And then you're going to go into the game and watch the Noles hang 70 points with all these quarterbacks they've got. And they're going to clean everything up for you. And then you get to go back to your awesome hotel room. CumminsLifestyle. Just give them a follow on Instagram. Corey, over at Warchant, FSU 91, he's been around a long time. He's been around since March 29th, 2002. He's posted over 20,000
almost an
times.
OG.
Yeah. He's posted 20,884 times.
Wow.
He's really big into numbers, like knowing the amount of dudes. And he's also a very positive guy, which is why I probably don't get along with him on the internet. Met him in person, good human being. We're up to 103 guys, according to our guy, FSU 91, who tabulates all this stuff for the rosters and such. So I was kind of hoping they would go under 105 by a big margin so that they could spend on other players. But, they're going to go with 105. And everybody's getting paid something. But if you're the 100, if you're Mr. Irrelevant on this team, I don't know what that gets you, man. Like $1,000 and a Chick-fil-A basket or something. So
yeah, that's fine. You get a scholarship still.
Yeah.
Those still count.
Yeah.
If you're the fourth team defensive end, yeah, man, enjoy the scholarship. You're still better off than 99% of college students.
Yeah. So looking at all this, I don't know, man. Like, tell me a position group you want me to go through. I'm gonna I'm gonna let you pick one on the offense, one position group, and then one from the defense. I'm gonna tell you all the guys they've got, and then I want you to give me your thoughts on whether or not Florida State is now better at that position versus where they were at last year.
Let's go receiver and then linebacker.
Okay. Wide receivers, Deuce Robinson, Mekhi Danzy, Javen Boggs, Tayshawn Gelsey, Tariq Mallory, Devin Carter. Is it Jace Lopez? The young man also plays hoops.
The basketball player.
Yes, correct. Some of these guys, I'm going to admit, he says he's got White listed on here. I don't know if it's definitely not Squirrel White because he's not there. Bennett, Winston, and Williams. Those are your receivers.
Oh yeah, we got Jameis's brother.
Oh yeah. Jonah.
Yeah, I would say, knowing what we know now, what Deuce and Danzy are. By the way, did you know Danzy led the country in yards per reception, and Deuce was fourth in the country?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Bombs away.
For Power 4. Power 4 receivers. Danzy was one. Deuce, I think Danzy might have been number one overall, but Deuce was number 4 in the country in the Power 4 in yards per catch, and Danzy was number 1.
How do you grade this offense then? You say that.
Right.
And listen, I am much more aligned with Jeff Cameron when it comes to the Gus Malzahn offense. But when you look at obviously what they were at in 24, what they were at this season, and listen, we get it. They made a lot of their bones in some of those games in September that didn't really matter all that much. But man, there are explosive plays everywhere. Like every single drive, seemingly there is an explosive play to be had. Now, will they connect on it? That's a whole nother thing. But it's just a really weird thing to go through the Gus Malzahn experience because that was the thing at Auburn, man. Like he would just totally frustrate the hell out of them in games against Ole Miss or Arkansas or Missouri, and then he would go beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl and do some crazy things. It's part of it all, I guess. But I mean, can they regulate it? Can they find some kind of consistency in the explosive games? But anyways. The explosive plays, rather.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, who knows about that? I do think, though, that when you look at that group, if it stays healthy, I like the top three. I know Boggs didn't get to do much this year, but they like Boggs a ton. This might be a breakout year for him. We know what Danzy and Deuce are, and Danzy should continue to get better and better and better. And so those three guys you really like, more in hindsight than whoever you thought the top three guys were going into last year. So that – I think you're better there. There's no proven depth, though. Really, behind Deuce and Danzy, there's no proven depth. The good news there is you don't need a ton of receivers in this system. You need three that can play. And so hopefully those three stay healthy, or there's one or two other guys that level up and can play really well if they get hurt.
Okay. Linebacker, Blake Nicholson, Omar Graham Jr., Mekhi Bayor, Chris Jones, Caleb LaValle, Thomas. I think Thomas is the young man who injured his knee in JUCO. We still have Ethan Pritchard listed. Yeah. I don't know if he'll get a medical DQ or whatever, but
it's
Karen Maycock, who's coming in from I think Miami Central, pretty highly renowned linebacker. He doesn't have a good rating, but I think everybody likes his film. Noah LaValle, Caleb's brother, Cottrell, Torres, Green, and Williams. That's 13.
Again,
he's got 13
like
linebackers.
Jones. Yeah. It's a lot of numbers. You're throwing numbers at a problem, man. It's what they did at quarterback too. If you're going to get 105 scholarships, throw some numbers at it. You're bound to hit on it. You're bound to hit on a few diamonds in the rough. And since it would seem a lot of the times this staff only looks for things in the rough, they don't go search for diamonds at the diamond store. They're just scouring the rough for eternity. Well, you got enough rough, you're going to find a few extra diamonds. In 105 positions, you're going to find if you throw 13 linebackers at a problem where you only need 3 on the field, you should hopefully be able to find 3 that can play. We know Chris Jones can play. Omar Graham and Blake Nicholson, you kind of throw your hands up like, They've had moments, but they leave you wanting too, and they've really got to take steps up, both of them. I think. I'm not convinced that Blake Nicholson just is what he is. I think Omar Graham probably is what he is, and he also has a hard time staying healthy. But Blake Nicholson, again, he maybe could continue to get better. I think he's going to be a true junior, right? Or am I wrong? This might be his 4th year coming.
This will be his senior
year. So hopefully
year,
he can take a jump. Yeah, please take a jump and make some plays and be impactful. He wasn't horrible at all last year. He just wasn't anything special. Be nice if he was. And that goes to the Lavallese. They really liked the North Carolina kid, Caleb, when they got him in the portal. Then, of course, he was hurt all year. But maybe he's a guy that kind of comes out of nowhere and is coached up well and is athletic enough and strong enough and physical enough to go make plays. Maybe Chris Jones can just be a one-man wrecking crew by himself. I will say, though, that crew, when you count that there's 13 of them, and you have a Chris Jones, I feel like you think this might be a better unit than the one you had coming into last year. Maybe. I don't know.
I think we liked Elijah Herring, man.
Herring didn't end up being. Yeah, and Herring didn't end up being anything special. And they got, Thompson just got hurt. I think Thompson was a good pickup. He just was hurt. I think he would have been the most impactful of probably all of those defensive transfers if he just didn't get hurt, but he did. So looking back in hindsight, it's easy to say this linebacking crew will be better than that one. But yeah, we thought Herring and Thompson were going to be better than they ended up being. Herring just didn't fit the system, didn't make enough plays, whatever the problem was, and Thompson got hurt. So, and Cryer and Nicholson and Graham, it was just a bunch of average. Nothing special. Hopefully, at least Chris Jones is above average, and maybe that he can, by osmosis, other guys can be better than average too. But I would say that's what, a wash. I like Chris Jones. I hope everybody can understand that. But we just don't know what the Lavalley is going to be, and if Nicholson can make some sort of jump.
I thought it was Lavalley. Am I saying it wrong, or are you saying it wrong?
No, I'm saying it wrong. It's Lavalley. But, hey, how would we know? We've never heard his name announced by anyone because he didn't get to play this past.
Yeah. Go check out the thread. Spoiler alert. There's not one single position group our guy, FSU 91, thinks is taking a step back. So, bowl game or bust, everybody. We're ready
I think that's because he got hindsight, right? The hindsight makes it like that. Like, you look at the going into last year with what we thought James Williams could be, what we thought Darrell Jackson would be. I think in the other guys like McCray and Diggs, Jane Jones, they talked about all the time. You're like, okay, you could talk yourself into that being a really good defensive front or a pretty good defensive front. We thought James Williams was going to had a chance to be special.
Yeah.
His coach said he should be a one and done.
Yep.
That didn't materialize. Well, he was one and done,
yeah,
and then he transferred to Oklahoma State. Not one and done for the NFL. I guess Knighton didn't really specify, did he? He just said one and done. He didn't say done and go where. But again, in hindsight, you would look at this defensive line and say, well, the Desirs are better than James Williams. And, maybe Kevin Wynn isn't going to be Darrell Jackson, clearly, but Daniel Lyons will be better than he was last year. And maybe McCray's going to be better than he was last year. And you throw in a couple of new guys, who knows? But, yeah, I think the defensive line is where I feel like – and it was my worry last year, I think. I feel like I was on record as saying that was my worry last year was the depth. And that is absolutely going to be my worry again. And at Florida State, it's crazy that it's like this, but it is. But you do have the Desirs. And now that we know what the Desirs are, Aslan, maybe we can talk ourselves into thinking that this is going to be a better defensive line.
I mean, is that ultimately where you're at right now as we sit and talk about this, like in the middle of January? Like, you feel good enough about the offense, but it comes down to what specifically like the defensive front looks like? Now, how much does that swing things in your opinion? So, like right now, if we're going into it and let's be cynical like Aslan, let's just say that they're going to have a slightly below average front six or whatever they want to call it with their fronts, because they run a 3-3-5.
I always call it a front seven, don't I? It's a front six, I guess.
But they do play with, four, guys on the line pretty much most of the times anyway. So, I mean, if we think that, but they end up projecting out to being, an average, slightly above average, let's say front six. Like, what is that? What's the war in your mind? How many wins do you think that translates to? How many games do you think that can swing in Florida State's favor that didn't go their way this past year?
Well, man, I just think that changes everything. And not only just, you want to be solid. I think they did a really good job this past year getting sacks. I think they were one of the leaders in the conference in sacks, even though James Williams didn't do much. But I feel like a lot of that was scheme. They were schemed for sacks. It didn't seem like it was a lot of just dudes going and making plays, just like a bull rush and going and winning. It was like somebody came free and it was a sack. I feel like there was a lot of blitzing with linebackers and safeties that got sacks and tackles for loss that the defensive line didn't get. But imagine if you didn't have to blitz your way into every QB pressure, that you could just get pressure with a front four, a front three, or 3.5, whatever you want to do. And maybe that most you rushed 5. Man, that changes everything. It changes everything. But, I don't think they proved that this past year. I do think the Desirs are a really nice place to start. Those are two guys and also the thing with them, because you were talking about them earlier and how they better have a fast start, or they're going to feel the angst of a wounded fan base. They got tired of that negotiation. But the good thing about the Desirs is you don't have to worry about them playing hard.
True.
Like that's how they're wired. money or not, I truly believe they are guys that they don't believe that they have made it. They are wired to be football players, and when they're on the field, they are there to wreak havoc, and they are going to play 100% of the time. That is a really, really good quality to have. So I don't foresee them starting slow or caring about what fans think because they're going to play hard regardless. So that's a good spot. That's a good place to start. But yeah, I think that the defensive line, even with them, because they're true sophomores, and they're still going to be going up against a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds, I would like them to be, 10 to 15, 20% stronger in the next 8 months than they are right now, if that can happen. But, yeah, man, they've proven they can play, and I just don't know, like, what the rest of it's going to look like. And the front seven, because of what's in the indelible image in all of our brains is Jaden Baugh. That's what's left in most of our brains for how that season ended. I thought they played well against NC State and Raleigh. That defense did as a whole, and I don't think they were bad against the run. But then the Florida game happened, and it's like, oh, gross. What was that? And that's what we're left to think about for 9 months. So that's what's still on my mind, and that's what's still, to me, the weakness of this team. I think the offense will be fine, no matter who's at quarterback. We haven't even mentioned the fact that the running backs, Cromall, hey, shout out to Oos. I don't know if it was in his contract that it was a 2-year deal, but shout out to my man for never going in the portal.
Lee County.
Don't know what happened, but, hey, he's a Seminole through and through. At least for another year. So you got Cromall, you got Wisner, you got the kid you were just talking about from FIU, and Singleton.
FAU. Yeah.
That's a nice Wisner. Sorry, not Wisner. Whatever, Aslan. Quit correcting me. I'm on a run. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. No, you got those 4 guys, including Singleton. That's a nice room, especially when we don't even think Cromall has been close to being untapped. So I think you've got a good running back room, like a good running back room. Last year we were kind of hoping they were good. Salchuk, Roy Dell Williams, Jalen Lucas, Cromall, freshman. Like, I think now with the kid that's run for 1,000 yards in a season at Texas, Cromall, who I think when he actually got the ball, proved he could be a very, very capable college back. Sam Singleton, when he got the ball, proved he was a college caliber running back, which I wasn't sure about this time a year ago. And then the kid from FAU, being a guy that can catch the ball to the backfield like maybe a Jalen Lucas, I like that room. I think that room's better than it was last year. So, hey, they made some upgrades. It's just maybe not quite the upgrades. They went from, like, I don't know, man, like eating at Huddle House. I was going to say Waffle House, but I like Waffle House, and I haven't been to a Huddle House in 20 years. Have you ever been to a Huddle House?
Never been to a Huddle House.
Yeah, why would anybody? I think there used to be one in Thomasville that we'd go to when the paper was put to bed because there wasn't a Waffle House, weirdly, or something. I don't remember why we would have gone to Huddle House, but we did. And that was 25 years ago. So, yeah, it's like you went maybe from Huddle House to, I don't know, Olive Garden?
Ooh.
Right? Like kind of decent? No, that's not even fair. Outback. You went from Huddle House to Outback. You did not go to Ruth's Chris.
That's a big jump.
Or
I don't know.
Morton's.
I think we were convincing ourselves like Gavin Sawchuk was
No,
a
I mean,
big
that's the
addition.
hope.
Yeah.
I think that's the hope, though, is that you've done that. I'm not saying that's what they've done.
Okay.
But that's the hope with the whole team, is that you've gone from like a Huddle House type of restaurant to an Outback. Like, again, Outback's not fancy dining. It's not one of the best steakhouses in the world. But it's a good date night. It's a good date night. It's a good 8 and 4 type restaurant. It's not Morton's. It's not Ruth's Chris. It's not like, Bones in Atlanta or Bacchanal or something. But it's a nice place. Nothing but love for Outback.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to get at Outback, Aslan? Go. I know they're not a sponsor. I don't care.
Oh, come on, man. Actually, off the menu, you can get their fried shrimp done bloomin' onion style. So it's like battered the same way that the bloomin' onion is, but it's like shrimp. So that's my favorite thing, appetizer. Yeah.
How do you know that?
Well, because they actually offer it seasonally.
How do you know that? How did you luck into that news?
Well, they offer it seasonally, and then I was at Outback. I don't go to Outback all that much, I promise you, but I will if you guys want to pay me to talk about your place. But I went with Abby one time, and then like 6 months later, I went with like Mercedes and Mike. We were driving back somewhere, and we stopped there to grab a bite. And I was like, I'm like, I had your guys shrimp, but they were battered like the bloomin' onion. He's like, yeah, we can do that for you. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, I didn't see it on the menu. He's like, guys, like, we can let them know in the back and they can do it. I'm like, cool. So that's what they did. And then Mike's like, oh, this is actually really good. I'm like, I know. So yeah, that's my favorite thing at the Outback Steakhouse.
Okay, all right. That's a good little trick. Yep. And then obviously, if you ever go to Outback anytime in your lives, go to Corner Pocket immediately afterwards for a little nightcap.
We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by CumminsLifestyle. Follow it on Instagram, CumminsLifestyle. Really brought to you by Cummins. But CumminsLifestyle, follow it on Instagram. Corey, I want to ask you, we had so many questions, obviously, about finances because we were coming to the end of the portal and Florida State didn't seem to have, the spending bandwidth that I guess people hoped for or wanted, or were judging ourselves against other people across the fence. But getting the Desirs was a big deal, obviously because of their talent, but what we thought they probably were going to command on the open market. And listen, I don't know if they ultimately, how much of a rework, I don't know how much of the contract got reworked, right? I don't know if this was one of those things where, it ended up being cost prohibitive for them to go somewhere else because the buyout was going to be so big. So they had to come back to Florida State hat in hand. I don't think that's the way it went down, but ultimately, we were asked about Battle's End and what are they up to? What are they doing? And I think we talked about the fact that, Jeff's mentioned this on a show, Tom Lang as well, on the Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Check it out. Irish Show fell. Second hour, Monday Smash later tonight as well. Warchant, who loves you, who's got you covered. But they were going to kind of pick their spots. They weren't going to, they were no longer going to be the entity that completely bankrolled more or less. I mean, I don't know. I feel weird saying those words, but it's what it is. Your roster, the way they did in 2023, they're going to kind of pick their spots, and they're the ones that helped to get the Desirs across the finish line. I assume because they tweeted that out that, they're excited to see two of the better young defensive linemen in college football stay in Tallahassee. So it made me wonder, because I don't follow them on Twitter. I should probably follow them. So they tweeted about the Desirs. They retweeted Florida State announcing C.J. Richard, who was the defensive back from Illinois State. They were the national runner-up at the FCS level. They also retweeted Thamel when he said that Deuce was coming back. And they also retweeted On3's Hayes Fawcett when Jabril Rawls announced that he was returning. So that's 1, 2, 4, 5 guys. Pretty impactful guys, though, if they're ones that help make those guys arrive in Florida State. I'm really interested about the C.J. Richard kid, if they were involved with him, because that came out of nowhere. That was really quick, and he graded out really well. I guess all that to say that, do you think Florida State is going to be able to be competitive no matter what happens this season, having this kind of double-pronged approach? Or they're going to have rev share, and it seems like the collective that is the Battles and still will be able to help them secure really impactful big-time talent?
You mean this year or just moving forward?
They're moving forward. I mean, does this show kind of a sustainable blueprint, or is it hard to even define what sustainable blueprint is because we don't know what the rules and the guardrails are going to be moving forward?
I hesitate to even answer this question, not just because I hate the question. I'm just kidding. I don't hate the question. No, but I was on Twitter on Sunday, as you noticed. I was tweeting a lot about football games, but there was I think it was Dellinger talked to someone. Who basically it was like it was like the Notre Dame AD and the Miami AD that says they don't think they should even have caps for the rev share. Like if you want to spend, you can spend 40. Like Miami makes $42 million or whatever Miami would make. $42 million from their rev share, just like Florida State does. Again, Miami's also made an extra $20 million because of their playoff run. But they want to spend all of it. They don't think there should be a cap on it, which is like we have to. I honestly think, I know I brought it up earlier, but the administrators saying something like that. Basically, 3 months ago, we were told the College Sports Commission was going to save us. They were going to have real guardrails in place. And then it doesn't look like that thing has any teeth. And now Miami, Notre Dame, I'm sure Ohio State and Georgia and Texas would all be behind it too. No, let us spend whatever we want. If we want to spend all $40 million of our TV rev share money, let us. Why are you capping it at 22? So I think these kind of quotes where they're so anti what's good for the sport that it's obvious, and they're only looking out for themselves, on top of what Mensa did on Friday night, 6 hours before the portal. There might really be, I'm hoping, maybe it won't happen, there will be a tipping point. There will be a tipping point where at some point there will everybody that these conference commissioners, probably led by Sankey because he's the most important person in the sport, although his conference has now gone 3 years without a national championship, and they've lucked into 2 of the Final Fours. They would he will. This enough is enough, and they will make these players employees, and it will be a minor league version of NFL football with real parameters and a salary cap. I was thinking about this today because I think there's a part of like the lawyers that tried these cases are even just, I don't know, man, the cynics that don't like college athletics and don't care that they've been blown up like this.
Yeah.
That'll be like, well, maybe the NFL should just start its own minor league. The NFL should start its own minor league, and then that's where all these guys will go and make their money. And my response would be, good luck.
Yep.
Because go around the country and tell me any minor league team anywhere in any sport that makes anything. Even if the starting pitcher that night is going to be pitching for the Yankees in 3 months in the World Series. Nobody cares about those teams, and they will not get paid. They will not get paid like they would at the NCAA level, and also you don't get the adulation and the audience for it with an NFL minor league. There's got to be a way where you can make these guys employees, and that the players that want to sue because they're having to sign. Like I was thinking about if you really made them employees, and I guess it has to be collectively bargained. I don't know who's going to bargain for the players, but somebody has to. And they're going to argue, well, you give us this, this, and this, or we'll just go play minor league football. It'll be like, yeah, man, good luck. Start your own league. Nobody will come. Nobody. Arkansas football fans don't care about anything but Arkansas football. Same with Florida State. It's weird that I went to Arkansas first. That's a weird school to pick. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, man, you're right.
We have to get to that point. We have to get to that point where college football takes back what makes this thing special. And what makes it special is the fandom and the fanaticism of those fans. And we get to a point where those fans don't have to pay for everything. It's the only sport on earth, as far as I can tell, where the diehard fans are the ones that are responsible for the coaches' salaries and the players' salaries. There's nothing even close to this.
And the facilities.
Arthur Blank has to go pay Stefanski. Yeah, and the facilities too. Yeah. You know, Arthur Blank has to go pay Stefanski. Kraft has to go pay Vrabel. The Patriots fans don't. Kraft does. So we've got to get to that point. I really do hope what Mensa did, and the fact that that's going to go to court, and Duke is going to argue because he signed this document, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care who wins. It'd be awesome if Miami didn't get him. It was left in the lurch. But that's where we are. Where Miami, 6 hours before the portal's over, well, that kid at Duke is really good. Well, what's he making? Well, I think he signed an NIL deal for $6.5 million. He signed it 2 weeks ago. Let's go offer him $9 million, and he can come here. And it's like there's no, yeah, go do it. Do it. There's nothing stopping you. Well, this has all got to stop. And I hope this is the tipping point. Maybe that can be a tipping point. We'll see. But, and the sport, the game on Monday night is going to get a lot of eyeballs. It's going to get a lot of ratings.
Will it,
though? There will come a time. Yeah, it will. But there will, because of Indiana, honestly. The novelty of somebody like Indiana maybe winning a national championship in football, and I think that's good for the sport. But I don't think Indiana is doing what they're doing because of their NIL. I think they got a great coach who got dudes from Kent State and all over the place, James Madison, and is a really good coach and has a lot of really good assistants. The lesson isn't NIL is used for Texas Tech. The NIL is why Texas Tech was relevant this year. I don't feel like Indiana, maybe moving forward they will, now that Cuban's more heavily involved. But I don't think Indiana, you could just put it all in the NIL. Like they outspent everyone. I don't think they did. I'm going to guess that Miami has a higher salary than Indiana, and I know Ohio State does. And Indiana still won. So anyway, I know that was a long ramble, but I do think that it will happen. With AD saying stuff like they don't even think there should be a salary cap anymore. The College Sports Commission has no teeth, no enforcement. Nobody's scared of them. And then we're asking about Battle's End and what they can do moving forward. It's like, well, hopefully they won't have to. Hopefully that we'll look back on this 4-year stretch like it was the dumbest it'll maybe a 6-year stretch before it's all over. It was the dumbest era of college football. And there will be some real guardrails in place, starting with Miami going and just completely ripping a guy from another school when he's already signed a contract, and the contract means nothing apparently. They can just go and outpay you, and nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything. And there's going to be a lot of lawsuits and blah, 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 and you're never going to win in court until you collectively bargain and make them employees. You make them employees, it all stops. And if they don't want to sign, if they don't want to come to Florida State and limit their earning potential because they have to say, okay, man, that's what you do in the NFL, though. Mendoza can only make so much his first 3 years in the NFL. Is that fair? Is that capitalism? No, but that's what they bargained. And that will come a point where they bargain with these athletes. This is the only amount of money you can make collectively as a football team. Whatever you want to land it on, $30 million. That's to be spread out over 105 players. And that's all you get, period. If you don't like it, go try to start your own minor league. And good luck having anybody care or come. Otherwise, let's get back to people that care. The people that care about college football the most are the ones that continue to get screwed by it. And now my rant is completely over. I'm sorry, Aslan. You want to talk about basketball real quick?
We talked about at the top of the show. We're a basketball podcast now.
Right. So I wanted to say this. I don't know if you saw my tweet. And I'm not one to completely well, that's not true. I'll always poke fun at some game operations things that happen at Florida State football and basketball and baseball games. I think I got the video board fixed at baseball where basically it just showed the kid's face 3 stories high and with no stats. And now they actually have stats and useful info on the Florida State baseball video board. That was probably more of a Link Jarrett thing than a Corey Clark thing. Got the punting stats taken off. Anyway, I tweeted about this because I've never seen anything like it. They didn't have a halftime show between the Wake Forest and Florida State game. They had, I don't even know what they had. They had some kid. Oh, somebody took 2 half-court shots and missed.
Free throw, 3-point
and then they had this. No, it was 2 half-court shots, and then they did this other contest between 2 women, and that's not the issue. I've seen there are millions upon millions of women that can play basketball at a high level and would beat the tar out of me. This is not a gender thing, but it was clearly 2 people that didn't know the sport at all, and it didn't look like it ever been on a basketball court. It had ever hoisted a basket to a goal. A basketball to a goal, which is fine. The contest was you have to make a layup, a free throw, and a three-pointer. Mm-hmm. The first one to make a layup, a free throw, and a three-pointer wins. And I think it was 2 minutes on the clock or a minute on the clock. Well, the woman that's running it, that's the guest that says, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I got 2 contestants here. We're going to do this." The MC, she's standing at half court and allows these 2 women, again, who didn't look like they ever shot before. They're on different ends they're both shooting on different goals. All they did was shoot 19-foot jumpers. I shouldn't say shoot 19-foot jumpers. They were throwing them like a baseball. They were granny shotting them. They were chucking them. Nobody until at least 20 shots each. And they had rebounders, by the way. And all the rebound kids were doing, and I shouldn't say kids, they were college kids, they would catch the ball and just pass it back to them. And again, let them shoot a 19-footer. The name of the contest is layup, free throw, three-pointer. They were not shooting a layup. They were not shooting a free throw. And they were not behind the three-point line. They were shooting nothing but mid-range jumpers. And I would guess out of 40 shots, 1 hit rim. And it was when she threw it like a baseball as hard as she could. And finally, someone with some sense came on the court and told one of the girls, "Hey, you can go actually shoot here real close to the basket." But I started booing, and the woman next to me told me to shush. But, I mean, I wasn't booing their effort. Yeah. I was booing the way it was run. How can you just let them shoot 19-foot jumpers for 2 minutes? But it was, it was entertaining, I guess. I was mad at everyone involved. They didn't explain what was going on. They didn't explain to the 2 women that clearly maybe don't know what a layup is, and I'm not taking a shot there. They might not know what a layup or a free throw is. So they literally both were a foot inside the three-point line, just hoisting long twos, which we all know in this day and age, worst shot in basketball, Aslan.
Yeah.
But anyway, had to get that off my chest. Never seen anything like it.
Somebody replied to Corey and said, "That was my kid out there. Thanks for acknowledging it was FSU and not the contestants. She hit the rim, and she's a dancer, not a basketball player. Thanks for the eyes on this, and go Noles." All of them, even the ones
right.
who
Thank
show up
you
to
very
support
much.
their team.
Like, that was my problem. It wasn't with them. It's like, how in the world are you watching this and not telling them, hey, you're doing it wrong?
Yeah.
Like, it would be like if when they do the Dr. Pepper throwing contest at halftime,
Right.
and one person just went back 30 yards and was throwing it from midfield, and the other person's doing the little chest pass from 10 feet. Somebody would tell them, no, hey, man, or hey, lady, go up there where they are. You could just stand right there. Nobody told them the rules. Nobody helped them at all. They just let them sit there and kind of hoist balls at a rim for over a minute. Man, I think it changed the whole vibe of the game, Aslan. No, that's not true. That was Florida State's rebounding in the final 4 minutes.
All right.
And also, and Florida State missed. They missed the last 14 3-pointers they shot.
Okay.
Florida State did on Saturday, and that's a big reason why they lost, along with McCray's 11 turnovers.
All right. That is that then. That's the news of the day, the news of the weekend. We got y'all caught up. Jeff Cameron will take it over from here 1 to 4 o'clock. In the meantime, though, warchant.com, around the clock, 50% off an annual membership, access across all of the stuff at warchant.com, On 3, Rivals, year access to The Athletic as well. We're almost there, everybody. We got a roster
shout out to
now.
Verse.
My gosh.
Shout out to Verse and Fisk.
Disruptive
getting
dudes.
to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, man, they're going to take down Sam Darnold. I think they're going to take them down. So best of luck to them. Maybe we'll go to the Super Bowl. Corey, go cover it to see Fisk and Verse.
Maybe we can get Fisk on the show. Maybe we can get Fisk on the show. I don't think Verse would do it, but maybe Fisk will do it if they get to the Super Bowl.
Why do you think Verse would do it?
I don't know, man. I think he probably thinks he's big time. He is big time, by the way, and so is Fisk. But yeah, I just think we'd have a better shot with Fisk, but we should ask for both.
All right, yeah. If they make Super Bowl, I'll do it.
I'm pretty sure Fabian Lovett is on the practice squad for the Patriots. I think I saw him on the sidelines, and Josh Farmer's on the team.
Nice.
So got a chance there for a couple of Noles from the 2023 football team to. We're going to have a bunch of defensive linemen from that game, from that team in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, well, that's a wrap for us. We'll be back. More shows this week. Definitely doing a mailbag. Get involved. warchant.com. Subscribe. Enter. Win the ultimate tailgate experience from CumminsLifestyle. Home game of your choice, everybody. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Cummins. Cummins Lifestyle. Instagram. Follow it.